So we'll start. So post puja, happy Vijaya to all. So we'll be starting our academic session. Then we'll have a word round scenario today. It's a very important word round scenario. You will find this scenario being there in almost all DNB, or you may have some OSCE question on deep vein thrombosis. So this is a situation on deep vein thrombosis. Will be presented by Dr. Chandan and Dr. Didiman Moitro. He is a associate professor of surgery at Calcutta Medical. Take us to the scenario. So Chandan will read the scenario. Yes, you have the slide being shown. You read the scenario and face, and we'll discuss the questions. And at the end, if you have time, you can run the presentation you have prepared. So Chandan, you can read it.
Chandan, unmute yourself.
Yeah. Dr. Chandan, can you see the screen?
Dr. Chandan, unmute yourself.
Chandan, you are not audible.
Chandan, unmute yourself. Unmute করছে না।
Sir, correct.
Yeah, Dr. Chandan.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yeah. You read the scenario and then we start discussion. You read the scenario. Can you see the screen?
No, sir, I am not able to see.
Cannot see the screen?
No, sir.
আমি তো দেখতে।
Dr. Didiman, you can see?
হ্যাঁ, sir. We can see.
Then you should see.
তাহলে I am reading out the scenario to him.
Okay.
Sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
A 50 years gentleman underwent right hemicolectomy and
Yes, sir.
developed pain and swelling in the right calf on POD2. How will
Yes.
you proceed?
Yes, sir. Sir, any major abdominal surgeries, there'll be a risk factor like my screen is not any major abdominal surgeries, like the patient will be bedridden for a long time, and this mainly causes deep venous thrombosis.
This is POD2. This is POD2. So the patient wasn't
yes, sir.
non-ambulatory for a long period,
Yes,
expectedly. So what
Yes.
are the other risks that this patient, this gentleman may have, which precipitated this condition? First of all, what is this condition that he is having? And what are the other risk factors that he may have had which led to this condition?
Sir, maybe the patient was overweight, obese, or maybe patient was on few, maybe he was a hypertensive and on blood thinning agents, and which he had stopped prior to surgery, and preoperatively also the patient may have been non-ambulatory for a very long time, and his nutrition status also, and
have you heard of any risk assessment model for this condition?
Sir, this Wells criteria, sir.
But the Caprini risk assessment score is there, where different factors are given a score of 1, 2, 3, or 4. And if the total score is 5 or more, then you say that the patient is high risk and you have to give prophylaxis. So basically, this gentleman is suffering from vascular or venous thromboembolism, which comprises of two parts. One is deep venous thrombosis and the other part is pulmonary embolism. Whether he has pulmonary embolism or not is not yet known, because it is asymptomatic in a lot of cases. So assuming this patient has DVT, how will you proceed?
Sir, first we'll do blood test, sir.
What blood tests
Blood-
will you do?
Sir, this.
Chandan, before you proceed to blood test,
Yes, sir.
this is a scenario given, pain and swelling.
Yes,
So
sir.
in this patient, before you proceed for investigation, do you
Yes,
like to know some other symptoms he has, so that you can think of that it's just a simple DBT or he's having some complications out of that? Because investigation will come next. You
Yes,
are
yes.
told only pain and swelling. What else you like to know in this scenario?
Sir, features of DVT we'll check for, sir. Clinical
Like?
manifestations, like whether he is having fever first.
Fever is one, yes.
Yes, sir.
What
Yes,
else?
and whether there is swelling in the foot, ankle, and leg.
Yes.
Okay, no.
And
Apart from fever, what else? What other history will you take to rule out complications? What is the most grave complication that may occur, and what are the other suggestive symptoms that the patient may have?
so grave complication is features of thromboembolism, sir, pulmonary embolism. Whether he is having dyspnea, tachycardia, and other complications other manifestations like cramping pain in the affected leg and severe unexplained leg pain, ankle and foot pain, and the area of skin will be shiny, stretched out, and whether like on clinical examination, whether it is feeling warm or whether there is bluish discoloration of the skin. All these features should be looked for.
Chandan,
Sir,
if you
sir.
talk of pulmonary embolism,
Sir.
there are two wide spectra of pulmonary embolism.
Yes.
Sir.
One
Yes,
is patient has what?
Uh,
One is sudden death.
yes,
So
sir.
this is not the scenario here.
Ah.
You often find the patient has sudden death, he was recovering well following the operation.
Yes,
So
sir.
that is one scenario. Second scenario is what? Second scenario is there is small emboli
Sir.
which are going to the pulmonary vascular bed and going to the periphery. So what
Yes.
symptoms this patient may have? Well, when he has small emboli going to the pulmonary vascular bed, what are the symptoms like? It will not be a severe dyspnea.
Sir.
Massive embolus will cause sudden death, but
Yes, sir.
if there are small emboli, then what symptoms will be there? Sir is asking that. Answer it.
Sir, pain will be there.
Yes. What type of pain? What type of pain? If the patient has got such small emboli, what is the type of pain? Characteristic pain?
Sir, crampy pain, sir.
Not crampy. It's described as a pleuritic type of chest pain, because these small emboli will
Yes.
cause a small influx in the lung, and that
Yes.
small influx will cause pleuritis.
Yes, sir.
And patient has pleuritic, that means it's a dull aching pain which gets aggravated at the end of deep inspiration.
Yes.
What else he may have? One is pleuritic chest pain. Then
Yes, sir.
What is the commonest site of enlargement of the embolus? Chandan?
Sir, most common site is calf muscle, sir. And
No.
Calf muscle is a
After
big one.
embolization, where does it go? It will go to the heart. From heart first, where does it get trapped? In the pulmonary artery.
pulmonary artery.
So,
Yes,
if
sir.
it's stuck in the pulmonary artery, what will it cause? The right side of the heart will not pump.
Sir.
So there will be right ventricular enlargement, right-sided heart failure.
Right heart failure.
If there is right heart failure, there will be, what will be the features? Apart from symptoms, say some signs.
Signs of respiratory failure will be this, sir. And
Then prominent veins.
prominence of the neck veins. Sir.
so this patient may have hemoptysis because of pulmonary infection.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Hemoptysis.
And
And
then
pulmonary
difficult-
artery hypertension, that
Yes,
that
yes.
can also give rise to hemoptysis.
Yes.
And what happens to the left side? Blood is not going to the left side, so what will happen? If heart is not pumping out adequate blood, what will happen? There may be features of shock.
Shock will be there, sir. Yes.
There may be features of shock.
Circulatory shock.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And if these thrombi, they travel and they lodge in the periphery, You know,
Yes,
in some,
maybe in the limbs or in the brain. Yes, sir.
then what will be the features?
Sir, if the embolus gets dislodged and reaches the brain, there'll be features of stroke. And
Transient ischemic attacks may be there if there are small
Yes, sir.
emboli and they're thrown up like, you know, in sequentially, then there may be features of transient ischemic
Transient
attack.
ischemic attack,
Stroke if it is, you know, lodges in one huge middle cerebral artery territory, or if there is enlargement in, say, vessels of the upper or lower extremity, then there may be claudications.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And what are the various heart conditions that predisposes for embolus? I mean, to occur from side.
Sir, artificial valves if it's present, pacemaker, and
Especially metallic valves, not
Yes.
pacemaker. Pacemaker,
Oh. Oh,
artificial valves, especially the metallic ones, or if a patient has arrhythmia.
yes,
If a patient has arrhythmia.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
What is paradoxical embolus?
Sir, paradoxical embolus is
In presence of VSD, sometimes what will happen? It will go directly from right, or ASD, it will go from directly from the right
Left to the-
heart to the left heart and then cause systemic embolization instead of pulmonary embolus. Okay. Sir, symptoms niye ar kichu jiggesh korben?
না, ঠিক আছে. And you should keep in mind that the second post-op day, apart from
Yes, sir.
focusing your attention to the deep vein thrombosis, you have to
Yes.
make a global assessment of the patient because the
Yes.
patient may be dehydrated.
Yes.
Patient may have other complications following surgery like lung complications. So,
Yes.
in the second post-op day, apart from evaluating the patient for deep vein thrombosis, you should also take into account whether he is progressing well in view of his primary surgery. So, okay, you started saying you do blood test. What blood test is important for patient having deep vein thrombosis?
Sir, PT, APTT, INR should be platelets should be.
Why suddenly jump to APTT first? You have not diagnosed deep vein thrombosis. This patient has got pain and swelling.
Yes.
So, how do you first do an investigation and corroborate, yes, this patient is having DVT? APTT is not the first investigation do in a patient who has got such suspicion.
PTT monitor the response to treatment. That you PT or APTT you do not do to assess for DVT.
Yes.
That those may be done to see the response to treatment with certain agents.
Yeah. Now your investigation, now you need to diagnose the condition. So what blood test can give you a pointer? Yes, this patient is likely to have DVT. That is now being done rampantly with the advent of COVID. People are
Sir,
doing this test in
D-dimer
all
test.
patients.
D-dimer test, sir.
Yes. So
D-dimer, FTP, fibrin degradation product, and D-dimer.
yes, that is a very sensitive blood test,
Yes.
which will suggest whether the patient has got a thrombotic process going on in the body or not. This just suggested thrombotic process undergoing in the body. Okay, so D-dimer test. So D-dimer test is positive.
Yes.
What next?
A negative
Sir,
D-dimer rules out DVT. A positive D-dimer may be associated with
May.
DVT, but may be due to other causes also. Especially nowadays, even in COVID, without DVT, also patients are having raised
Yeah.
D-dimer.
Yes.
So, positive D-dimer. What next? Critically ill patient. What you will do? Patient is not very critically ill. Patient is still ambulatory. What will you do?
Sir, we'll go for Doppler and venous Doppler, sir, with duplex scanning.
Start with one. You will do Doppler, or better to say is a duplex study.
Yes, sir.
Duplex scan.
So
Duplex
what is the importance of doing a duplex scan, and what are the pointers in duplex scan which you suggest, yes, these are the features of deep vein thrombosis? Here are the salient points in duplex study. What do you find in normal person and what is there in the patient having DVT?
Sir, in a normal person, there'll be visible this thing, sir. There'll be it will be compressible, sir. When the probe is placed, it will be compressible. The area will be compressible, and the flow also, it will be normal, sir. Rapid flow will be there.
What is the
Okay,
normal
one is
flow?
normal flow, one
Normal
is the
flow.
veins are not the area, the imaged
Okay.
vein.
Ah,
The
yes,
vein
sir.
is compressible. What else?
Vein is compressible.
What else? What else you find to a patient who has got deep vein thrombosis?
What does Doppler do?
The-
What does it pick up? The direction of flow.
Sir, yes, sir. Direction of flow.
So what will
There'll be no reverse flow, sir.
no reversal, or there may be secondary to DVT, there may be reflux to the superficial system. Sometimes secondary to it, there may be what? Deep, there may be thrombophlebitis of the superficial veins. And what will happen to the arterial flow? If the flow is interrupted due to presence of this thing, clot in the deep venous system, the arterial flow will also become sluggish.
Yes, sluggish and decreased. Yes.
Triphasic flow may be disrupted.
Yes.
What, Chandan, if you place
Yes.
your Doppler probe over a vein,
Yes, sir.
is there a change with phases of respiration? What change occurs in a normal person? If you place the Doppler on
Sir,
the vein,
yes, sir.
what happens during inspiration in the flow and what happens in expiration? The flow is
In
increased.
inspiration- Yes,
If you
sir.
place the probe, you'll find that flow is increased during inspiration because there is negative intensity pressure,
Yes, sir.
and flow get dampened in expiration. So you can pick up this.
Yes,
This
sir.
is known as a phasic variation. This is
Phasic
phasic variation of flow in a normal person. Patient has got a DVT. Even if the vein is not completely occluded, this phasic variation will get lost. So they are the indirect features of deep vein thrombosis. So in deep vein thrombosis study, you will find the venous lumen become echogenic.
Yes.
The venous lumen become echogenic because of the thrombus, number one. There may be loss of flow. If it is a complete occlusion, or even if there is a flow, there will be loss of phasic variation with the inspiration expiration. Okay,
Yes.
and if you press the probe on the vein, normal vein will get compressed.
Compressed.
The thrombused vein will not get compressed. So
No.
loss of compressibility.
Yes.
So these are the features.
Yes.
If you have this nuclear study being positive, will
Yes.
you consider doing venography in this patient? If you have
No.
these features in nuclear study, do you need to do a venography?
Sir, not required, sir. As
Yes.
duplex itself is.
Yes, if you have a good duplex study
Yes.
available in your
Direct
center,
venography does not have role.
yes, there is no role for doing a ascending venography in this patient.
Yes.
Okay, now you have diagnosed. How you diagnose the patient has got a pulmonary embolism? DVT is diagnosed. How to
Yes, sir.
exclude
The
pulmonary
patient,
embolism?
the
Yeah.
patient is critically ill and bedbound. How will what will be your initial investigation of choice for detecting the presence of pulmonary embolism? And the patient is not critically ill and ambulatory. What will be your first investigation of choice for assessing the presence of pulmonary embolism?
Sir, pulmonary embolism can be sometimes picked up by ECG also first. So we'll ask the.
What is the pattern on ECG?
Sir,
Classical
S1,
description.
Q3, S1,
Classical
Q3.
description.
Yes.
S1, Q3, T3, and there is
QT3.
tachycardia, and there is S1,
Yes,
Q3, T3 pattern.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So ECG, but sometimes ECG may not pick up changes. What else can you do at the bedside? You can do a transthoracic echocardiography.
Transparent. Yes.
What will be the findings on echocardiography?
Sir, there'll be
Again,
clot. Yes, sir.
there will be echogenic focus inside the pulmonary arterial vasculature. Then
Yes.
there will be right ventricular enlargement, the intraventricular septum, because right ventricular pressure will gradually increase. The intraventricular septum will become flattened
Yes.
as right ventricular pressure approaches the left ventricular pressure. Then if
Yes.
there is, any incipient VSD, that may become prominent. Okay, there may be regurgitation, tricuspid regurgitation
Yes.
into the right atrium, and ultimately right heart failure. All the veins will be prominent.
Yes.
So this you will do if the patient is critically ill. At the bedside, you can do echocardiography or ECG. Now the patient is ambulatory to move. What will you
Yes.
do? What is the current investigation of choice?
So duplex scanning will be done, and
Duplex scanning of what? No, you will do a CT pulmonary angiogram.
CT pulmonary angiogram. Yes, sir.
CT pulmonary angiogram or a helical or spiral CT scan. You will do a spiral scan or CT pulmonary angiogram. Direct pulmonary angiogram is invasive and is not done always.
Yes.
The first investigation of choice will be a helical CT or spiral CT and a CTPA if possible.
Yes.
Previously, what was the investigation of choice?
Previously,
A VQ scan, perfusion ventilation scan used to be done
Yes.
previously, but it has the problem of injecting the scanning agent, the radiopharmaceutical that is required and all. So the easier method and globally available method to evaluate is a CT scan is
angiogram.
available everywhere. You can do a CT pulmonary angiogram. But if a patient is having associated renal failure and all, you have to be careful about using the dye. If you can't use the dye, then you just do spiral CT. Okay,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, you can proceed with the management. So you have diagnosed the patient has got deep vein thrombosis involving the both cuffs,
Yes.
and he has no features of pulmonary embolism.
Yes.
So what should be the management on the second post-op day?
So second post-op day, like hydration should be maintained. The patient should be
Good.
made ambulant, and
You will make the patient ambulant. How
Ambulance.
can he?
second post-op
He
day.
has DBT.
Oh,
He has already
How you-
developed DVT.
already developed. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
it's a established DBT. The
Yes.
question ambulation comes earlier as prophylaxis. Okay,
Yes.
once he has DBT, you have to start the patient on treatment. Now you start ambulant, he'll start throwing the ambulance.
Yes, sir.
So
What
how do you
treatment?
how do you ask the patient to rest on the bed? With the
So bed rest with elevation of the limbs, and
Elevation of the
sometimes
limbs.
creep. Yes, sir. Creep bandage will be given. Creep bandage and compression stocking.
crepe
elastic
bandage
stocking.
can't be used in which setting? If the patient is having associated, I mean, if this patient does not have any history of trauma, but if there is history
Yes.
of trauma, or if there is peripheral vascular arterial disease, then you can't use compression bandage.
Yes.
Okay, then that is fine. Then how do you treat?
So treatment for initially we'll give a heparin, high dose of heparin, sir.
What kind of
And-
heparin will you use?
Sir, low molecular weight heparin will
Low
be
molecular weight heparin
Yes.
can be used. What are the
Yes.
common variants that are available?
What you have used in
Sir,
clinical practice? Have you
Sir,
used
low molecular weight, yes, sir.
like
Low molecular
name
weight,
name
Enoxaparin.
some drug?
enoxaparin will be used, sir, and
Enoxaparin is
replace.
used. You can also use you can use dolteparin.
Yes.
So what is the dose for low molecular for enoxaparin?
Therapeutic dose.
Enoxaparin, sir, not. No, sir.
There are two doses. One is prophylactic dose and one
Yes.
is therapeutic dose.
Yes,
Here is 60 milligram.
60 milligrams.
40 milligrams are prophylactic dose and 60 milligrams are therapeutic dose of
Yes.
normal heparin.
Yes.
So you start this patient on normal heparin. What else?
Sir,
What else you consider?
Sir, low molecular weight heparin will be continued for around 7 days, for a week. After that, patient will be put on oral anticoagulants like
After
warfarin.
that, give you specific answer.
Warfarin,
7 days LMW and then oral,
oral anticoagulants.
or there is something different. Is it sequential therapy?
Yes,
You mean
sir.
you continue LMW, stop it, and then start oral?
No, sir. Like simultaneously, it is better to start
Yes.
warfarin on the first day itself.
Yes.
And
You can start after 48 hours, not regarding the first day. You
Yes.
start on LMW and
Yes.
start the oral anticoagulant from second or third day, overlapping the heparin therapy, and then continue the oral anticoagulants. Do you know some newer drugs which can be given instead of the parenteral therapy? There are some newer drugs which are orally acting anticoagulant, and they say that you will not give the patient parenteral anticoagulant therapy.
স্যার আমারটা একটু লগ আউট হয়ে গেছিল, আবার জয়েন
Okay,
করছি।
okay. We are discussing the therapy. He said he will give enoxaparin. We discuss the dose, and then he said we will start sequential. I said it should be overlapped. You start the
Yes,
patient
sir.
enoxaparin
Yes, sir.
and give the oral anticoagulant from second day.
Yes,
Then I
sir.
ask the question: newer drugs which can be
Okay,
started
sir.
on the very first day as oral anticoagulant.
Okay, sir.
What are those drugs, Chandan? Apart from warfarin, there are some newer drugs in the market now.
like this fibrinolysin, sir.
Not
No, no.
fibrinolytic.
Dabigatran,
These are oral
rivaroxaban,
anticoagulants.
apixaban,
Rivaroxaban.
Sir.
Okay.
What are the
Because-
mechanism of action? What is the mechanism of action of dabigatran? What is the mechanism of action of rivaroxaban and apixaban? Dabigatran is antithrombin activity direct, and rivaroxaban and apixaban, they have direct action on factor 10A, activated factor 10A.
10A.
And factor 10 assays are available nowadays. So you can use them. So the earliest agent that was recommended after orthopedic surgeries and general surgery was apixaban. Nowadays, even in post-COVID patients also, dabigatran and rivaroxaban are being used.
Yes.
So how long? How long will you continue this anticoagulant therapy?
Sir, 3 to 6 months it should be continued. Like
Name a
oral
condition
anticoagulants.
when it should be used for lifelong. Name a condition when this therapy should be continued lifelong.
A cardiac condition and a
Sir,
non-cardiac condition.
So cardiac condition where there is like stents and metal stents especially, and artificial valves are present. And
Bare stents, they will need longer duration.
Yes.
And cancer, a patient of cancer, if those patients develop DVT, then for
Cancer.
if you put them on anticoagulant therapy, that has to be generally lifelong. Right, sir?
Yes, that is one. And second is there is a condition known as thrombophilia.
Thrombophilia.
Oh,
You see,
yes.
these are the patients who need to be invested for thrombophilia. That
Yes.
means there are some patients who may have deficiency of antithrombin 3, protein C, protein S, and
Protein
factor
S
5
and
leading.
Leaden.
If you document that this patient has gone, because all patients of hemoglobin does not develop deep vein thrombosis.
Yes.
Apart from the usual factors in the post-op scenario, some patient may be thrombophilic. So need to exclude whether this patient is thrombophilic or not. If you diagnose this with thrombophilic, these are the patients who are likely to develop DVT in subsequent period. So they are the patient who need lifelong therapy with anticoagulants, which needs to be monitored. Suppose you give the patient warfarin, how do you monitor therapy? Most of them give warfarin because these are all very costly drugs.
Yes, sir.
If you give them
like
warfarin, how do you monitor?
Sir, monitoring the INR, sir.
INR,
P-time
yes.
and INR. P-time
Yes,
and
at
INR.
what INR you are happy? Yes, you have done a
Like it
adequate
should be maintained,
anticoagulation.
sir. It should be maintained between 2 and 3.
Yeah,
2 to 3.
2.5 to 3.5 should be the ideal INR. So
Yes.
that
How
patient is
do
properly
you
anticoagulated.
reverse? How do you reverse the action of warfarin?
Patient is bleeding and you need to reverse.
What is the
Sir,
mechanism of action of warfarin?
Sir, vitamin K injection should.
You give vitamin K injection because this is vitamin K, and but these are vitamin K antagonists. What is the newer generation like drug which is used instead of warfarin nowadays for use at home? Acitrom or acenocumarol? Acitrom or acenocumarol?
Acitrom, yes.
So now
What is
we are-
Varchostride? What is Varchostride? It ekdam basic.
Yeah.
Must be
Sir,
discussed. with this
Varchostride,
Varchostride, one component sir has already discussed. Thrombophilias like
yes, sir.
hypercoagulable states like protein C proteinase deficiency, Leiden 5 mutation, then
Yes.
there are some conditions like
hyperhomocystinemia.
malignancy. Malignancy is a patient who may have increased blood viscosity. So apart from this, what are the other components of Varchostride?
Sir, hypercoagulability, sir. Stasis.
Hypercoagulability we have discussed. What are the
What
other two
else?
conditions? What are the other two components?
Sir, stasis and vein wall injury.
Yes.
Yes.
This is an endothelial injury.
Endothelial injury.
Endothelial injury and the stasis. These are the three factors which are described as the factors for development of or initiation of thrombus. Okay.
What do you
Now
mean by
in
a
the-
post-thrombotic leg or chronic venous insufficiency?
Sir, these are sequelae of DVT, sir. Like,
Yes. What happens? What happens in DVT? That patient goes to the phase of called as CVI, chronic venous insufficiency. What happens there?
sir, there'll be pulmonary embolism. All these.
No, not embolism. No, chronic venous insufficiency is not pulmonary embolism. Chronic venous insufficiency, patient has got a thrombus in the vein, and
Yes.
subsequently we have given some treatment.
Yes.
And following the treatment, patient may recover completely, or patient may have some residual effect in the vein. What are the residual effect? Which leads to chronic venous insufficiency. What can happen in the deep veins? Following DVT, what can happen in the deep veins? Number one, the valves can get damaged. Number two, even if there is recanalization,
Valves will be done.
the recanalization may not be complete.
Yes.
So what happens then? If you have these two effects, what is the net effect clinically? Clinically, there will be venostasis.
Sir.
There will be venostasis because the valves are not active.
Yes.
And there will be reflux in the superficial veins.
Yes.
So what are the important signs of chronic venous insufficiency if you examine the patient? What are the important signs of chronic venous insufficiency? You can look at the leg and can say that this patient has got venous insufficiency. Chandan,
Sir, lymphedema, sir.
lymphedema
it is.
is different.
Lymphedema is
You may have swelling in the legs. Yes, it's not lymphedema. This is because of venostasis. One is swelling in the leg. That is one. What else
Swelling.
can happen?
How
What
will
is
you
swelling?
differentiate the swelling of lymphedema and swelling of venous swelling?
Sir,
Venous swelling will start
lymph-
from where? Lymphedema will involve the dorsum of the foot, which will not be involved in venous insufficiency.
sir,
There
Ingold
is
veins.
this Stemmer's sign where you can pinch the skin of the toe
Yes.
in case of venous insufficiency, but not in lymphedema. So they are different. You do not confuse it with lymphedema.
And what about pigmentation? In
Sir,
chronic
bluish-
venous insufficiency, there will be pigmentation because of venostasis.
Yes.
There is
Bluish discoloration.
Pigmentation, lichenification, there may be,
Venous ulcer, sir.
chronic, yes.
yes.
And in these patients, you have to be
And
careful to rule out the history of DVT, because thinking that this is a simple case of varicose vein, you may end up doing flush ligation or Trendelenburg's operation, and that will harm the patient.
Yes.
If at all these patients need to undergo any surgery, what surgery is offered to these patients?
Sir, thrombectomy, sir. Palmer's operation.
Palmer's operation of revascularization, how do you do? Using a reverse saphenous graft.
Yes. Saphenous graft.
Okay, or you help the
Sir.
obstructed side drain into the opposite side.
Opposite side.
Then
Okay.
if there
Chandan,
is involvement of the স্যার কিছু জিজ্ঞেস করছেন?
না 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 ঠিক আছে, carry on, carry on.
If there is involvement of the proximal system like femoral and iliac system,
Yes, sir.
then and you are not being able to use anticoagulation because the patient is bleeding also. Okay,
Yes, sir.
in such patients in elective surgery, what can you use?
Sir, using a Fogarty's catheter, we can.
No, patient has not developed DVT, but
Not
patient
developed.
is a high risk for developing DVT. However,
To prevent.
the patient is bleeding, you are not being able to use anticoagulation. What can you use to prevent pulmonary embolism? Not to prevent, or I mean, there may be DVT, but
Yes.
the thrombus will not go to the heart or lung. How will you ensure that? There is something called a retrievable
IVC filter.
IVC filter. Yes,
Yes.
you can put in a retrievable IVC filter. What
Yes.
is phlegmatia cerulear dolens and phlegmatia alba dolens?
Sir, like white leg and blue leg, I'll tell you, sir. In phlegmatia alba dolens, there'll be like characteristic white appearance of the legs. This is due
White.
to DVT of the femoral vein, sir, causing congestion and lymphangitis.
White is white. If it is only femoral vein, it will not be white. It will be blue. Here, Dr. Mitra has asked you two questions. One is alba, one is cerula.
Yes, sir. In cerulear dolens, there'll be DVT of iliac and pelvic veins also, sir. So
Yes.
the leg will be bluish.
If it is an isolated venous occlusion, it will be blue.
Yes,
If it
isolated
is a
venous occlusion,
combined arterial
Combined.
and venous occlusion, it will be
White,
white.
white.
blunt streams.
Yes.
I think
our discussion
yes.
has
Chandan,
covered most of the things.
you have prepared a presentation. You can
Sir, I
share
had.
it.
Yes, sir.
You can share your presentation. We have discussed most of the things, but just for a recapitulation, you have time. You can go through your presentation.
Yes, sir.
But you see, bearing a
Slide.
presentation and facing a questions are different.
Yes,
You
sir.
have prepared a presentation, everything is
Yes.
there. But
Yes.
if you see a patient scenario, you need
Yes.
to answer what the examiner wants to know in a particular situation. One
Yes.
is theoretical answer and another is a patient related questions. So you should focus on the particular patient scenario. Okay,
Yes.
because your discussion will have all the points, but you need to extract the points, particularly in a situation in the exam. Okay, please carry on.
Yes, sir. Milind had given slides. Can you? My slides and all.
Should I share, sir, or will you be sharing?
No, I'm not able to share. That's why I had.
Okay, made the sharing. If you can continue. Yes.
Can you read the slides?
Yes, I am able to.
You can see the slide now.
Sir, 1 second.
We can see deep vein thrombosis definition.
Ah, sir. Now I.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Start.
Sir, deep vein thrombosis is a serious condition that occurs when there is a blood clot in the vein located deep inside the body. A blood clot is a clump of blood that's turned into a semi-solid or solid state. And next slide. And the most common cause, most common site is soleal veins of the calf muscle, and most common cause is post-operative thrombosis. Like it can be major surgeries like abdominal surgeries, pelvic, hip, and gynecological and cancer surgeries. Usually here the patient will be bedridden for more than 3 days in the postoperative period, which increases the risk of developing DVT. And more commonly DVT will be seen in lower limb. Upper limb is usually rare. And the etiological factors like warchostriate, there'll be a stasis of the blood, hypercoagulability, and endothelial injury. And features of DVT. Majority of the patients are asymptomatic, and few patients develop fever, and there'll be swelling in the foot, ankle, and leg, usually on one side of the leg, and there'll be cramping pain in the affected leg that usually begins in the calf muscle, and usually sometimes patient will be asymptomatic and sudden development of severe unexplained pain in the foot and ankle, and there'll be an area of skin that feels warmer than the skin on the surrounding areas. Skin over the affected area can turn pale, or it may become reddish or bluish in color. People with an upper extremity DVT, most common site is the axillary vein. They may develop neck pain, shoulder pain, and swelling in the arm or hand, and bluish discoloration of the skin, pain that moves from arm to the forearm, and weakness in the hand. And these two are the types, sir. Phlegmasia albadolens or white leg, there will be DVT of the femoral vein causing congestion, edema, and lymphangitis. There will be arterial occlusion as well in this Phlegmasia albadolens. And in Phlegmasia cerulea dolens, there will be DVT of iliac and pelvic veins. There will be no arterial occlusion. Other features are like positive Homan sign. When the patient is asked to passively, patient's leg will be passively, forcefully dorsiflexed, and there will be calf tenderness. So this is positive Homan sign. And Moses sign, gentle squeezing of lower part of the calf from side to side is like painful. So this should not be done nowadays because it may dislodge the thrombus. And Neuhoff sign, thickening and deep tenderness elicited while palpating deep calf muscles. And one more test is Linton's test. Here the tourniquet will be applied to the saphenofemoral junction. Saphenofemoral junction is in the groin area around 2.5 to 3 centimeter below and lateral to the pubic tubercle. Here tourniquet will be applied and patient is made to walk. Limb is elevated without removing the tourniquet, and persisting prominent superficial veins will be observed in case of DVT. So coming to risk factors of DVT. DVT risk factors are like if the patient had an injury previously that damages the veins, example, a bone fracture or something, and being overweight, and having a family history of DVT, having a catheter placed in the vein, and taking OC pills or undergoing hormone therapy. Excessive smoking is also one of the risk factors. This is a venous Doppler with duplex scanning image. Here there is a thrombus lodged in the lumen of the vein. This is the picture. And coming to if there is no like the duplex scan, if it is inconclusive, then we should do a venogram. In a venogram, a dye is injected into the vein in question. Then an X-ray is taken over the area where a doctor suspects DVT. The dye makes the vein more visible, so interrupted blood flow would be easily seen. Here, the occlusive and non-occlusive thrombus can be differentiated. Nowadays, MR venogram is coming up in a big way. And next is impedance plethysmography. This measures the rate of venous emptying. The procedure followed here is vein occlusion using cuff around the upper thigh. It is confirmed by a flat electric wave, and slowly the cuff is released. If there is rapid flow of wave, then it is a normal flow, and if there is sluggish flow of wave, then DVT will be suspected. So next, coming to D-dimer test. A D-dimer blood test measures fibrin degradation products and interprets plasmin activity on fibrin. So if it's increased, implies it is DVT. And one more test is radioactive iodine 125 fibrinogen study. Here, sodium iodide 100 mg will be given orally to the patient 24 hours prior to the operation, prior, so that there will be blockage of thyroid activity. Then iodine 125 labeled fibrinogen is given intravenously. Legs are elevated using adjustable stands. Counting in the leg is done below upwards at 5 centimeter intervals. This is done pre-operatively and post-operatively on first, third, and sixth day. More than 20% of the suggest DVT. Other tests include ventilation perfusion scanning, which is becoming obsolete nowadays, and pulmonary artery CT scan, and pulmonary angiography is also used nowadays. So there's something called modified Wells criteria. This is to predict pulmonary embolism. It is a scoring system, based on the features. The features like clinical signs and symptoms of DVT, if it's present, it is taken as 3 points, and there is no alternative diagnosis, but all the clinical signs of DVT present, it is also taken as 3 points. And if there is tachycardia more than 100 beats per minute, the score is taken as 1.5, and immobilization for more than 3 or more days, or surgery in the previous 4 weeks, it is taken as 1.5. Previous DVT or pulmonary embolism and hemoptysis, both are taken as 1.5, and malignancy with active treatment in past 6 months under palliative care, this is also taken as 1 point. So if there is if the score is more than 4, it is taken as pulmonary embolism. Less than or equal to 4, pulmonary embolism is unlikely. Like, further investigation should be done. Now coming to complications of DVT. A major complication of DVT is pulmonary embolism. The signs of pulmonary embolism include dizziness, sweating, chest pain, which gets worse with coughing or inhaling deeply, and there'll be rapid breathing, and hemoptysis and tachycardia. So coming to treatment, the patient will be asked to take bed rest and proper positioning of the limbs and elevation of the limbs, and crepe bandage will be used to compression stockings and elastic stockings also will be used. Next. For a fixed thrombus, initially high dose of heparin, like 25,000 units per day for 7 days will be given. Later, warfarin will be given for 3 to 6 months. Dose is controlled by assessing APTT, and low molecular weight heparin is preferred to heparin. Warfarin should be started as early as possible, maybe on the first or second day itself. For free thrombus, fibrinolysin will be used, and the fibrinolysin which are commonly used as streptokinase, urokinase, reptilase, and tissue plasminogen activator, and venous thrombectomy using Fogarty venous balloon catheter. This is also a procedure, and thromboemboli prevented using IVC filters like Kimray Greenfield filter and Mobinudin umbrella filters. These are the types of filters. And partial mechanical thrombectomy will be done, and thrombolysis will be infused at that point, like at a particular point. And thrombus will be removed using balloon angioplasty tube also. Now, open venotomy and thrombectomy can also be used, but due to availability of all these angioplasty balloon tubes and catheters, not used much nowadays. Next slide. Surgical procedures include Palma operation and May-Husny operation. In Palma operation, it is usually done in iliofemoral thrombosis. Here, common femoral vein below the block is communicated to the opposite femoral vein using opposite long saphenous vein. This is a bypass procedure. And May-Husny operation, here a popliteal vein block, the popliteal vein below the block is anastomosed to the long saphenous vein end to end to bypass blood. Categorization. Here, in a case of DVT, patient should be first categorized whether he is low risk, moderate risk, or high risk. Low risk patients are patients who are young, who are undergoing surgery for less than 30 minutes. Moderate risk, like patient who are more than 40 years of age, undergoing a major surgery. High risk patient, one with existing cardiac disease, stroke, previous history of DVT, and malignancy. Coming to prevention of DVT, limb elevation, proper positioning of the legs with no pressure on the calves, and like regular massaging of the calf muscles, and compression bandage and elastic stockings will be used, like proper hydration and early ambulation. These are also very necessary. External pneumatic devices, electrical stimulation of calf muscles, and low molecular weight heparin once a day after a major surgery, and smoking should be stopped, and OC pills, if being taken by a woman, should be stopped 6 to 8 weeks prior to surgery. Coming to sequelae of DVT, usually DVT ends up in pulmonary embolism. In other cases, it can be infection, gangrene, venous ulcers, or it may cause recurrent DVT and propagation of thrombus proximally.
Okay,
Thank you,
Dr.
sir.
Chandan, you
Sir.
see the difference. You have given a good presentation.
Yes,
But
sir.
if you go to the case scenario and discussion, it
Yes,
is
sir.
always confined to the practical aspect of management. This
Yes.
is good for theoretical presentation, but when you come to
Yes,
a practical examination, you should
Yes, sir.
confine to the usual practice you are continuing. You see, most of the things we have discussed, but it should be in the proper prescriptive. In a one-round scenario, you should not utter, I will do plethysmography. No exam will accept it. But for theoretical purpose, you should know it. That is good. You get a good presentation, but always keep in mind that in exam scenario, it should be more practical oriented questions.
Yes.
Dr. Didiman, anything to add?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, ठीक है, sir. One more thing I wanted to say. You have written about OCPs and this thing.
Yes, sir.
Smoking to be stopped. Any other drug that you know in the cancer setting which is used commonly nowadays for a very common cancer which can cause thromboembolism? You have to keep it in mind. Tamoxifen. Tamoxifen for breast cancer that may cause thromboembolism, and you have to be careful about that. If you are operating on a recurrent breast cancer patient who's already on tamoxifen, you have to be careful about stopping tamoxifen also.
Tamoxifen. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Chandan, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Didiman.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Shubha Vijaya.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.